Welcome back to Awesome Possum Hobbies and Games. I am Chris, and today is my favorite day of the week. It is my mail day. I got my order in from TCG Player. Let's go ahead and open it up, see what I got. So here we are with this week's TCG Player order already unpacked. Let's go ahead and go through the cards. I bought this for a couple different decks, as well as some extra cards that happen to be recommended to me by TCG Player. The first one's for my Tergrid deck. I am a huge fan of Smokestack. Well, no one's a fan of this card. Everyone hates this card, but it's going straight in my Tergrid deck because I'm all about people sacrificing things. This one costs 4 for an artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a soot counter on Smokestack. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a permanent for each soot counter on Smokestack. So, you always want to put it in play, and then you want to choose the second ability. You don't get to choose the order. You want to choose you have to put a counter on it, and then you have to sacrifice stuff. Hopefully, you've already had a chance to go through and get some stuff to be able to sacrifice the Smokestacks, so you're not sacking your own things unless they're counters. Whatever. Next card is Smallpox. 2 black. Sorcery. Each player loses a life, discards a card, sacrifices a creature, and then sacrifices a land. This is going great in Target deck. And what's better than Smallpox? Regular Pox. 3 black mana. This one's it's a sorcery from Ice Age. Each player loses a third of their life, chooses and discards a third of the cards in their hand, and then sacrifices a third of creatures he or she controls, and finally sacrifices a third of the lands he or she controls. Round each loss up. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life. Yes, it's even better than Smallpox because it makes people lose a lot of things. Another great card for Tergrid deck, Delirium Skeins. 1 black, 2 colorless. It's a sorcery. Each player discards 3 cards. For 3 mana, it's a good way to get ahead. Siphon Mind. 1 black mana, 3 colorless. Each other player discards a card. You may draw a card for each card discarded this way. Liliana's Triumph. 1 black, 1 colorless. Instant. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If you control Liliana, Planeswalker, each opponent also discards a card. This is a specialty promo version of Liliana's Triumph. Skyclave Relic. 3 colorless mana. Artifact. Kicker 3, indestructible. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, create 2 tap tokens that are copies of this card, and these taps produce a colorless mana. Orc Commando, 1 black, 2 colorless. This is a 3/1 creature orc warrior. This particular version is, of course, from a secret lair, and it is a different named Merciless Executioner. When Orc Commando enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature. So if you don't have any creatures, you have to sacrifice it. Everflowing Chalice. It's a great addition to any deck, especially if you're playing cards like Mind Stone or whatever. But late game, you can pay that multi-kicker of 2 instead of, comes into play for 2 and it taps to reduce 1, or, late game 4 or 6 mana. And it taps to reduce a colorless mana for each charge counter on it, and it's really good. Friction Arena. 2 black, 1 colorless. Enchantment at the beginning of your upkeep, you may draw a card and you lose 1 life. War Room. This one's from the Doctor Who set. This is a land. It taps to reduce a colorless mana, pay 3, and pay life equal to the number of colors in your commander's color identity, and you can draw a card. So I pay 1 for Tergrid, so that's not bad. Fraying Omnipotence. 2 black, 3 colorless. Sorcery. Each player loses half their life, and then discards half the cards in their hand, then sacrifices half the creatures they control. Round up each time. Another version of Pox. I got a couple of them because I didn't have one. Tainted Aether. 2 black, 2 colorless. This is from Urza's, one of the original Urza sets. Urza Saga, I believe. Enchantment. Whenever a creature comes into the play, its controller sacrifices a creature or a land. Great for Tergrid. Next 2 are for a different deck, which I'm not sure about yet, but it's Phyrexian Delver. 2 black, 3 colorless. It's a creature Phyrexian zombie. It's a 3/2. And when it enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You lose life equal to the card's mana value. Not bad. And then this next one is from Unfinity. It is Blank Goblin. Creature, Goblin Guest. It's a 2/2. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may put a name sticker on it. Add a red mana for each unique vowel on that sticker. So I'm not sure about what stickers I want to play with, but I will get to those cards sooner or later. So next sets are all going to be for a Rule 0, Mr. House, Mr. President. Next, first one's Jack in the Box. For 0, it's an artifact, and then roll a 6-sided dice. This ability, you have to tap it, and this ability has indicated effect. 1, you have to sacrifice it, and you lose 5 life. 2 through 6, it produces its respective color. It's pretty cool. I'm willing to take a chance. Cracks, Other Thumb, 2 colorless mana, legendary artifact. If you would roll a die, instead roll 2 of those dice and ignore one of those results. Strength Testing Hammer, 1 colorless mana, artifact equipment. When an equipped creature attacks, roll a 6-sided dice. Then that creature gets plus X plus 0 until end of turn, where X is the result. And then if it has the greatest power or is tied for the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield, you can draw a card. Costs 3 to equip. Lodestone Lobber. Equipped creature has, it's a cost 2. It's an artifact equipment, and equipped creature has tap. This creature deals 1 damage to a player. Roll a 6-sided dice on a 5 or higher. Untap it. It costs 2 to equip. Mad Science Fair Project. 3 colorless mana artifact. Tap. Roll a 6-sided dice on a 3 or lower. Target player adds a colorless mana to their mana pool. Otherwise, that player adds 1 mana of any color that she chooses to their mana pool. Steel Squirrel. 2 colorless mana. For an artifact creature squirrel, it's a 1/1. Whenever you roll a 5 or higher on a dice, it gets plus X on a turn, where X is the result. And you can pay 6 colorless mana to roll a 6-sided dice. Box of Free Range Goblins. 2 red, 4 colorless sorcery. Roll a 6-sided dice. Create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to the results. Steam Floggery. 2 red, 4 colorless instant. Roll a 6-sided dice. Assemble a number of contraptions equal to the result. Revivify. 1 white, 2 colorless instant. Roll a d20. Add a number of creature cards in your graveyard that were put there this turn. 1 through 14. Return all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn to your hand. 15 plus, you get to return those creature cards to the graveyard to the battlefield. Inhumaniac. 1 black, 1 colorless, creature Brainiac. 1/1 at the beginning of your upkeep, roll a 6-sided dice. On a 3 or 4, put a +1/+1 counter on it. On a 5 or higher, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. On a roll of 1, remove all +1/+1 counters on it. So 2 doesn't do anything. Xeno Squirrels. 1 black, 1 colorless. It's a creature alien squirrel, 0/0. Enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. After you roll a dice, you may remove a +1/+1 counter from Xeno Squirrels. If you do, increase or decrease the result by 1. Captain Rex Nebula. 1 red, 1 white, 1 colorless for 2/2 legendary human pilot employee. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target non-land permanent you control becomes a vehicle artifact until end of turn. Its base power and toughness are equal to its mana value, and it has crew 2. Crash Land. Whenever this vehicle deals combat damage, roll a d6. If the result is equal to this vehicle's mana value, it deals that much damage to a target, then sacrifice this vehicle. Will, Blade of Frontiers. 1 red, 1 colorless, 1/1 legendary creature human warlock. If you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many dice +1 and ignore the lowest roll. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, put a +1/+1 counter on this guy, and has choose background, which I'm not going to be choosing background because he's not going to be my commander. Next one is Goblin Girder Gang. Say that 3 times fast. 1 red, 3 colorless, creature goblin employee, 0/4 reach. Whenever you roll a result not stored on Goblin Girder Gang, you may store that result on it. When you do, it deals 1 damage to target without a hat. So you have to look at the artwork for dealing damage, or your opponents. If they're not wearing hats, they can take some damage. Goblin Girder gets +1/+0 for each result stored on it. The Big Idea. 2 red, 4 colorless, legendary creature Brainiac Villain. It's a 4/4. 4 combination colors, red, black, 2 colorless. Roll a 6-sided dice. Create number 1/1 red Brainiac creature tokens equal to the result. Tap 3 untap Brainiacs you control. The next time you would roll a 6-sided dice, instead roll 2 6-sided dice and use the total of the results. Hammer Jammer. 1 red, 3 colorless creature Goblin Warrior 0/0. When it enters the battlefield, roll a 6-sided dice. A Hammer Jammer enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the results. Whenever you roll a die, remove all +1/+1 counters from Hammer Jammer, then put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the results. So yes, it's going to be interesting. He can get big, especially if you're rolling those d20s. Goblin Tutor. It's an instant, one red for instant. Roll a 6-sided dice. If you roll a 1, Goblin Tutor has no effect. Otherwise, search your library for an indicated card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Number 2 is going to have no results either because you're searching for a card named Goblin Tutor and you're not going to have another one in your deck if you're playing Commander, which that's what I'm planning on doing. 3 is an enchantment, 4 is an artifact, 5 is a creature, and 6 is an instant or sorcery. Next one is The Big Idea, which I've already got one that was foil, so that's an extra. Goblin Blasternauts. 2 red, 3 colorless. Creature Goblin employees 5/4. When it enters a battlefield, open an attraction. Whenever you roll a 6, you may copy the spell, ability, or attraction visit that caused you to roll that dice. You may choose new targets for the copy. This card's going to be crazy and Mr. House, Mr. President. Strategy, Shenanigans. 1 red, 1 colorless. Roll a 6-sided dice for, it's a sorcery. Roll a 6-sided dice for strategy, Schmategy on a 1. Strategy, Schmategy has no effect. Otherwise, it has one of the following effects. 2, destroy all artifacts. 3, destroy all lands. 4, deals 3 damage to each creature or player. 5, each player discards his or her hand, draws 7 cards. 6, roll the die 2 more times. Hopefully you got cracks. Thumb in play, other thumb in play, because otherwise it's going to be rough. Boomflinger. It's a contraption. Whenever you crank Boomflinger, roll 2 6-sided dice. Boomflinger deals damage to target player equal to the difference between the results. Gift Horse. It's another contraption. Whenever you crank Gift Horse, roll 2 6-sided dice. Create a number of 1/1 red Goblin creature tokens equal to the difference of the results. Here are some attractions. Pick a Beeble. This is a 2, 3, or 6 version. It's artifact attraction. Visit. Roll a 6-sided dice. Put a number of luck counters on Pick a Beeble equal to the result. And create a treasure token. Then if there are 6 or more luck counters on Pick a Beeble, claim a prize. Prize. Create 2 treasure tokens. Then sacrifice a Pick a Beeble and open another attraction. Pick a Beeble, 3, 4, or 6, same as above, but has different dice numbers on it. And lastly, Phone a Friend. I don't know if I'm actually going to end up playing this card somewhere because my levels Rule 0 deck will be white, black, and red. So I just picked this up just in case I figure out something else later on. 2 blue, 3 colorless, sorcery. Call someone and ask them to choose one. If they don't answer, an opponent chooses one. Don't explain anything else. You choose the targets. A, B, C, and D. A is gain control of target creature you don't control. B, choose target creature you control. Create 2 tokens that are copies of it. C, take an extra turn after this one. Or D, draw 7 cards. All for 5 mana. Of course, you're not the one picking the answer. Now, my strategy of this is to actually call someone that's at the table because your opponents could be your friends. Or you can call the store if you really want to, if you're playing at a store. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, hope you have a great week and keep them rolling. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take the time to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to stay updated. Have a great day and keep them rolling.